I think then that as we're 3 minutes past 12 and we've had a flurry of people join us, it's probably appropriate now to welcome you to the webinar. I'm Mary Sivright. With me today is our techie guru, Paul Melvin, and we're all things environmental control at Abilia. Today we're going to be looking at GEWA Maxi, which is our big button remote controller. We're going to give an overview of the product, and then we're going to look at basic settings and programming. So GEWA Maxi is a big, robust and easy to use remote control, which helps you to manage the equipment in your house. You can control your TV, sound system, lights, as well as open and close windows and doors. If you have impaired mobility, vision, or if you struggle to understand a normal remote control, GEWA Maxi will guide you with pictures and buttons. It allows you to be more independent, make your own decisions, and not rely on the help of family members or other carers. So why choose GEWA Maxi? GEWA Maxi makes difficult tasks easier. Traditional remote controls often have too many buttons that are too small. They can be difficult to see, understand, and press. Sometimes you need more than one remote control to watch, for example, your television, if you have a cable or satellite box connected to the television. GEWA Maxi gives you a limited number of big buttons that only show what you're wanting to control. Moreover, the press of a button can generate a series of events. First, you switch on your television, and then you can switch on your Sky or cable TV. GEWA Maxi is easy to control and has 16 big buttons that only require a little bit of pressure. The buttons are lowered to facilitate that you hit the right button if you have a tactile or motor skill impairment. Confirmation in the form of sound, light and vibration provide feedback that you've pressed the right button. If your hand shakes, for example, if you have a tremor, there's the possibility of activation delay. This means that a button must be continued to be pressed for a selected amount of time before the choice is activated. It's easy to understand, and the buttons are adapted by using supportive pictures that clearly symbolise what system the button controls. Picture overlays are easily created via our Abilia website. A plastic sleeve protects the overlay against dirt and fluids. If you don't need to use all 16 buttons, you can hide the unused ones using plastic caps. Plastic caps make the surface feel smooth and the buttons will not be visible. GEWA Maxi is easy to manage and you can start using it quickly. It can be fastened to a table by using the included Velcro straps. This will prevent it from sliding off or getting lost. And in contrast to our traditional remote controls, you do not need to aim GEWA Maxi at the equipment that you wish to control. So what we're going to be looking at is the design of GEWA Maxi, the overlay, basic settings, and then programming, including infrared, macros, which is a series of infrared signals, the GEWA 4096 security, and we're going to show a small video at the end. And I'd like to hand you over to Paul.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, so we look at the design of the GEWA Maxi now, and as you can see, there's a front and back view there. And if you look at the front view, the letters around it indicate the different features. So at the top is the letter A, which is the infrared receiver. So as you take another remote control that you want to copy, you point it at the infrared receiver. The letter B indicates an LED, so that's for feedback and programming. And then there's letter C is a grid for buttons, otherwise known as a key guard. D is a replaceable overlay, which is like a plastic sleeve. And E is an infrared window which stretches around the device so that the signal is sent out in every direction. As we look at the back of the device, at the top, number 1, is the battery compartment, and that houses 4 AA batteries, which can last for up to a year, dependent on usage. Number 2 is pointing to the 4 corners. Basically, there's 4 screws that hold the key guard on the other side onto the device. And 3, it's just 2 smooth panels where you can attach Velcro so you can stick it to a surface. Okay. In the manual that comes with the device is a link for a website. And when you go onto the website, you see a layout of the GEWA Maxi. And as you click on the image symbol, you get a range of images on the right hand side, sort of symbols to indicate things like beds and such like. And you can just drag and drop those if you want to use those symbols. You can scroll down, there's many more, but you can also use your own pictures. So you can download pictures off the internet and pop those into the different keys. Or you could take your own pictures and pop those in. Alternatively, you can use text as well, and then you just print out the overlay, pop it into the sleeve, and pop it into the device itself. Okay, so first of all, you can change basic settings on the device, and the way you do that, you just hold down the 4 corner buttons, 1, 4, 13 and 16 for more than 5 seconds. That takes you into settings mode, and the LED at the top of the device shines white to indicate that you're in settings mode. Okay, now we've got a little chart there to indicate how to change the settings. So you can see at the bottom there's buttons labelled volume, tone, delay, LED, vibration and enter. So basically the vibration, the tone and the LED are used for feedback, so that when you press a button in normal operation, you can have any of those features activated. So if you need a vibration to give you feedback, that's quite good for people with visual impairment. Again, it can beep, which again, for visual impairment, that's great. But there's also a flashing LED at the top. So you can adjust all of these. The way you do it, first of all, you enter the settings mode as we just looked at. Once you've entered settings, you then press the required button. So if we look at vibration at the top, you press the vibration button, and if you press it 4 times, the LED will change from white to red to yellow to green. And that relates to white is off, so the vibration is turned off. Red is low intensity. Yellow is normal intensity, and green is high. Okay. Now that relates through for things like volume, exactly the same layout. It's either off, low, normal or high. So you basically just press the volume button up to 4 times to set it to the required setting. So if you wanted it on high volume, you press it 4 times till the LED goes green. Okay. The tone, so that's the beep that when you press a button, you can have different types of tone. So just slightly different beeps, basically, a low, medium, high or highest. And the LED brightness, that can be changed again. You can either have it off altogether or low brightness, normal and high. Now, the bottom of the chart shows a delay. So for people with a hand tremor, you can set a delay. On the normal operation, it's set to off. But if you set it to red, so the LED is red, that gives you a 0.3 second delay. or you can press it again till it goes yellow, get a 0.6 second delay, or green is a 1 second. So basically you press the button and nothing happens for whatever timescale you set it to. Okay, you can reset the device quite easily by pressing 11, 22, 33, 44. So it's nice and easy to reset back to factory settings should you want to refurbish it for another user perhaps. Okay. Okay, so we'll look at just basic programming, recording just a simple infrared signal. So it's nice and easy to do. You enter programming mode. This time you hold down the 4 middle buttons, which are 6, 7, 10 and 11, more than 5 seconds. And this time the LED will blink green at the top. Okay. And as you can see on the left-hand side there, there's a remote control. So it could be a TV remote control you want to copy. And you point it at the top of the GEWA Maxi. It's got to be at least 30 millimeters away. Okay. Okay, so this looks more complicated than it is. You basically need to enter the programming mode as we just looked at, and using the other remote control, you want to give 3 samples of a particular button. So say it was the volume up button you're copying, you're pressing it and holding it 3 times. So the first time you hold it, sorry, I missed a step out there. So you enter programming mode, and then you select the button that you want to record. So say, for example, button number 13, you want to record, you'd press that once. Then you would press button number 1, which is for infrared recording. And the next 3 steps are where you basically put in the 3 samples of the signal from the other remote control. So on the other remotes, you would hold down the volume up button, for example, until the LED shines red. Then you will let it go. You would hold it down a second time until the LED shines red, then let go. And a third time until the LED blinks yellow. And that indicates that it's been successful. And at that point, you press button number 16, which is the enter button, twice. That takes you out to programming mode. And that's that button number 13 is then programmed as volume up. Okay, so nice and simple to do. Okay, so there are other types of programming, more advanced. Things like macros. So for those who aren't familiar with macros, it's basically just a combination of signals. So the button we previously recorded could be included in a macro. But in this case, the example shows you you could record 3 separate signals, 1, 0, and 2 from another remote control. In this case, a satellite TV remote control. And 102 in the UK is BBC Two. Okay, so that could be stored onto one button, 102. When you press the button, it sends them out in that order, 102, and turns the satellite box over. So that's a macro, mostly used for favourite TV channels. We also can use our built-in GEWA link signals. So these are our own pre-recorded signals that all our devices are pre-programmed with. They're used for controlling our peripheral devices. So we have bed control devices, and we have sockets. They can be used for controlling lamps and fans, that sort of thing. And we have little relay boxes that can operate window openers, door openers, that sort of thing. Okay. We also have something called a 4096 code. So it's a secure 4-digit code, and this can be used to operate doors and windows, that sort of thing. It's not a code you need to record. It's built in. You just type in a 4-digit code that you want to use, anywhere between 0 and 4095. Okay. And we'll just take a little look at the video first of all. It's just sort of highlights what we've just been talking about. Just give us one moment. Okay, so this is my colleague Orsa, and she's printed out an overlay that she's going to use for this GEWA Maxi. So she's just going to unscrew the 4 screws, and the good thing about them is they don't fall out, so you don't lose the screws. And there's the little plastic overlay sheet. You just pop the paper inside and then pop the key guard back on, and then just tighten up the screws again. Okay. So there we go. At that point, you can start recording or start programming the device itself. So you position the remote control 30 millimeters away. Hold down the 4 middle buttons. And the LED starts flashing green. So you select the button that you're going to record. Press button 1 for infrared. And then just hold down the button on the remote until the LED blinks red. There we go. Take your finger off. Do it a second time until it goes red. And a third time it should flash yellow if successful. Okay. And then just press the enter button twice, and that's it recorded. So at that point you can do the next signal. So holding down the 4 buttons again, 4 middle buttons. The LED flashes green. Press the button you want to record. Press button 1 for infrared. And this time we're recording the volume button, volume up. So you do it 3 times again, and each time the light flashes red. And the last time, if it's successful, it should flash yellow. Okay, press enter twice, and that's the second button recorded. Okay, so you could continue that for more buttons. So now we'll take a look. When you buy the GEWA Maxi, you get a range of these little plastic caps. So any buttons that you're not using could be covered up. And sometimes they could be used for spacing buttons out. Okay, so we unscrew 4 screws, take the key guard off, and just pop the plastic caps into the blank spaces and pop it back on. And then just screw it back together. It's nice and easy. Okay, just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so I'll just pass you back to Mary now.
So, excuse me, in the box with your GEWA Maxi, you will receive a manual which takes you through all of the features and benefits of the GEWA Maxi, together with recording infrared signals, macros, and using any of our peripheral products, together with the Secure 4096. You also get an A4 template of the inlay, and this shows you the features that are on each button. It highlights the 4 corners for basic settings in yellow, and it highlights buttons 6, 7, 10 and 11 for recording your signals. It also tells you what facility is underneath each button. So 1 is to record an infrared signal, 2 is for GEWA Link or peripheral range, number 3 is for the 4096, and then at the bottom you've got 11 for volume, 12 for tone, 13 for delay, 14 for the LED, 15 for vibrate, and 16 is the enter button. So do we have any questions at all?
I noticed Martin's asked about switches. Yeah, it cannot take switches. Basically, this device is a niche product. We have other devices that can take switches, but this device is for a user that perhaps wouldn't be able to operate an external switch for scanning. So it's really meant for someone who basically would be able to manage pressing individual buttons with a key guard, perhaps, but switch scanning would perhaps be beyond them. So yeah, it's not a switch operated device, this one.
Any other questions at all? Okay, we've got a question coming in about the price. So GEWA Maxi is £250, and it does come with 2 sockets, so that you can use other equipment within your home via infrared. There don't seem to be any more. So Moira, the Liverpool fan, is asking, how hard do you have to press the buttons to activate them? They're really just a very soft touch, Moira. You don't have to have a lot of strength to actually activate the buttons. And you also don't need a lot of strength, even if you have a tremor as well, to hold on to the button to make sure that the signal's been recorded. It is a very simple to use device.
Yeah.
We'll just wait a few more minutes because obviously typing questions out can sometimes take a few minutes. So Martin is asking, how are the infrared sockets used?
Okay. Do you want me to answer this one, Mary?
Please, far away.
Yeah, so the infrared sockets use our pre-recorded GEWA Link signals. So it's just a case of setting up one of the buttons as a GEWA Link button instead of infrared, and you just tell it what code that you're using. Then you program the socket. So once you've programmed the individual button on the GEWA Maxi, you plug in the socket, switch on, and you hold down the button on the socket, and then you press the button on the GEWA Maxi, you point it at the socket, and it programs the socket with the signal that you've set up on the button. Okay, so you could have a range of sockets in one room with different signals, so they'll all work independently. But basically, you plug something like a lamp into one of our sockets. It would have to be just a regular lamp, not a touch lamp or something like that. One with a switch that you can leave on the lamp, and then the switching is done via the socket then. And the same works for things like a fan. If you were just to take a standard 3-speed fan and just set it to whatever speed that you wanted, plug it into our socket, and then you leave it, because you've selected the speed, it's basically on. So the switching is then done by the socket then. So you can do things like little space heaters as well. Anything under 3 kilowatts, basically. Perhaps one of these little radiators, that sort of thing. Okay, hope that answers Martin's question.
Sounded good to me.
Yeah.
A can't see any more questions coming in at the moment. So we'd just like to thank you so much for attending today. Paul and my details are on there for anybody who wants to contact us separately. We do now have a Abilia YouTube account, which shows all of our product ranges on there, from cognition, communication, and environmental control. And for Martin, who was asking about switches, it does give an overview on the environmental control overview of other products that are in our range, or you can take a look at our website, which is abilia.uk. And this webinar will be on there shortly. Maury, you missed the price. So the price is £250, and that includes 2 complimentary sockets at the moment. And Martin is asking, do you mean a standard 3-pin socket? Yes, we do, Martin.
Yeah.
But we'll hang on for a few more minutes, just in case there are more questions to come in. For those of you that have asked all your questions, we'd just like to wish you a happy Christmas and best wishes for the new year. And hopefully 2021 is a little easier for all of us. Thank you for attending.
And that's happy Christmas from me as well. Thank you.